Hello, my name's Andrew Peacham and I'm the Head of Faculty for Higher Education at Petroc. And today I'm going to be talking you through some of the benefits of studying higher education with us at Petroc. And I'm just going to talk through the range of programs that we have on offer. I'm joined today by Sam Wilson. So Sam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi there, I'm Sam Wilson, Head of Apprenticeships, and I just wanted to come along today to try and add some context to some of the HE provision at Petroc and how apprenticeships are within HE at Petroc.
Okay, thanks, Sam. So, in terms of what makes Petroc unique, then we have over 20 full or part-time degrees that you can study with Petroc without leaving the area. So essentially, you could join us at level 4, so on the first year of a foundation degree, and progress on to an honours degree level programme at level 6. We have outstanding success rates. So 75% of our students gain either a first or a 2-1 on their BA programme. Now, a first or a 2-1 is known as a good degree outcome. And essentially, this is what degree students would ultimately like to achieve when they study on a degree. And as you can see, a high proportion of our students get very good degree outcomes. Another real kind of selling point of Petroc is the fact that we have really kind of good one-to-one support. So because we have relatively low class sizes, then we can support students quite a lot in terms of their study skills, their academic skills, and we also have dedicated well-being and academic support available to students. And the final point on this slide, we have a specialist university centre based on our Branham's campus, and that has a dedicated HE learning resources area, and that is for higher education students only, that learning resources area. Coming on to the next slide in terms of what makes us unique. Well, as I said on the previous slide, you can progress to either a BA or a BSc honours programme without leaving the area. So a BA means a Bachelor of Arts, a BSc means a Bachelor of Science. So we now have a range of programmes where they're honours degree programmes and you can progress to those without leaving the area. Another real kind of selling point of coming to Petroc is that in 2021, we're planning to open a new £3 million Institute of Technology facility. Now, this is really designed to support students on engineering and computing programs. I'll talk through the range of programs we have in a minute, and I'll bring Sam in to reference higher apprenticeships in this as well. The next point is in relation to our curriculum and the fact that we really encourage students to undertake work placements and consultancy projects while they're on their programs. Now, the key thing to this is ultimately, you're doing a degree because you want to gain higher level employment or graduate level employment, and work placements can really kind of assist you and support in your kind of career progression. So we encourage those on the majority of our courses. And the final point on this slide is that you've got a lot of flexibility to study alongside employment. So because of the way we structure our timetables, if you were to do a full-time course, we usually timetable those on 2 days a week. Or if you were to do a part-time course, that would usually be on 1 day a week. So you could potentially maintain, a part-time job while studying with Petroc, because obviously we appreciate that, finances as a student is very important. So we allow that kind of flexibility to study alongside employment. So that's basically some of the reasons why Petroc is unique. Just to explain our partnership, so we have a partnership with the University of Plymouth. So all our higher education programs are validated and awarded by the University of Plymouth at the moment. We have a nursing degree which is delivered through the University of Bolton, but the majority of our programs are validated by the University of Plymouth. So it's one of the largest universities in the country, has a very good reputation nationally and internationally. In terms of modes of study and progression, so if you were to study, say, a foundation degree with Petroc, now, a foundation degree is the equivalent to the first 2 years of an honours degree. So foundation degrees can be studied either 2 years full-time or 3 years part-time. You can then progress on to a BA honours programme with us at Petroc. So the majority of our foundation degrees have progression routes onto BA honours programmes or BSc honours. or you can progress on to the University of Plymouth to study or to top up onto your honours degree level programme. We also have higher apprenticeships, and this is where I'm going to bring Sam in just to talk us through the range of higher apprenticeships that we deliver.
Thank you, Andrew. So I wanted to add a bit of context to the higher apprenticeships. Traditionally, you may consider apprenticeships being very much about the construction and catering kind of sort of level 2 and 3 apprenticeships. But in fact, now apprenticeships are delivered all the way up to master's degree. And I think the unique selling point for HE and apprenticeships is the fact that the learner does not enter into any debt, because the foundation degree, the HE element of the apprenticeship is paid for by either an employer or the government. So you do need to be employed to be an apprentice. An apprentice can be from 16 up to 60. There is no age limit as such on an apprenticeship. So when we look at the higher education, higher degree apprenticeships, there is an opportunity to consider, could you progress through with your current employer onto the next level of your sort of career journey progression with Petroc, using a higher apprenticeship as an option. The opportunities currently at Petroc have a range of sectors: computing and digital. We have construction management. We have engineering. We have a real strong link with local NHS trusts to have a range of apprenticeships within health. And again, Petroc has over 400 employers that we work with on the apprenticeship agenda, and support all our learners through a higher or through an apprenticeship in the workplace, whilst working with us as we deliver the elements of the apprenticeship.
Okay, thanks for that, Sam. So I just want to go through the range of kind of programs that we have available. I won't talk you through each individual program, but just to give you a flavour of some of the kind of subjects and the degrees that you can study with us here at Petroc. So we have a range of science-based programs. So, for example, we do animal conservation, we do psychology, sport, health and fitness. We have a suite of business programs. So we have business and management. Picking up from what Sam said just a minute ago, in the business and management area, we do a chartered manager degree apprenticeship. So you can study an apprenticeship to level 6 with us and ultimately come out with an honours degree. We have new opportunities in terms of things like creative media. We have a program called Games Development, which links to the IoT, the Institute of Technology. We have a suite of engineering programs, so we do electronics and communications, mechanical design and manufacture. So we do those as both HNCs and foundation degrees. We have art-based programs, so we do illustration. We've got a new program coming on board for 2021, which is called Art and Contemporary Craft. So as you can see, I'm not going to go through each of those individual programs, but essentially we do a whole range of programs. And the kind of key thing to this is we think about kind of employability. So in terms of these courses, they are subjects and areas where we feel there is clear kind of, there's a labour market, so there's clear employability in these different areas. So we've got some new programs coming on board next year in sustainability, and we've also have a range of foundation year programs that we're planning to start running from September 2021. Now, the foundation year programs essentially give students the opportunity to undertake a degree, but you can come in with a lower entry requirement than your traditional higher education student. So those foundation years are really designed for people who haven't necessarily prior attained a level 3 qualification. You might have come in with experience in the workplace, but ultimately you can do a degree with us without having that traditional level 3 entry requirement that most students do when they come onto higher education. So that's the flavour of the kind of courses we do. Just to kind of explain in terms of, we also have January start programs. So we are rolling out a lot of these programs for a January 2021 start, and then we'll have another intake in September 2021. So in terms of the next step, if you'd like to apply, So you can apply at www.petroc.ac.uk, and ultimately on the Petroc website, you can apply now through there, and you can see on there the range of January programs and the September programs. There'll be loads of course information on there. There's videos on our website just to kind of give you more of a flavour of what the course is all about. And yeah, so if you're interested, have a look on our website. You can always get in touch with us through the website as well, in terms of if you want to know more information about the courses. So yeah, so it was nice to speak to you today. So that concludes my presentation. I'm going to stop presenting now and go back into the Q&A. So if I stop screen. So yeah, so really, if anyone's got any questions. I am too old to do an adult course, or is that? Am I too old to do an adult course? I don't know how old you are, so it's very difficult to answer that question. But no, nobody's too old ultimately. So no, you could do a higher education course. There's no age limit on it at all. So ultimately, we have had higher education students who have been into their 70s. So you can, you're entitled to take out student finance, a student loan at any age, providing you haven't taken out a maximum amount of student loan before. So that is the only restriction. So if you had taken out a student loan to do a degree previously, then the Student Finance England may restrict you. But in most cases, no, there's no age limit on doing one of our programs. Yes, you can. So you can study a HE course part-time. So as I explained in my presentation, basically the way we offer the programs full-time, but any HE program you can also study as a part-time option. So what it basically means is you're taking, so let's say, for example, you were to do, if you were doing a full-time foundation degree, that would be over 2 years. If you study it part-time, it would just increase the duration. So you would do it usually over 3 years rather than 2 years. And that relates to our foundation degrees and also honours degrees as well. So you could potentially study for an honours degree as a part-time student. Okay, yeah. So basically, in terms of knowing more about the nursing degree, then we can put you in touch with somebody to explain more about that. That is in partnership with the University of Bolton. So it's not something I could necessarily explain in more depth in terms of the nursing degree and the requirements of it and so on. But we can certainly take your details and get someone to get in touch with you regarding the actual nursing degree itself and the content, the structure, and so on. Don't know if there's any questions for Sam on apprenticeships at all.
I guess the previous question, which was about part-time, that's kind of how the structure of the apprenticeship is brought together, isn't it, Andrew? So there is that element of you attend your timetable sessions part-time, usually one afternoon a week is your knowledge element of your apprenticeship, and then the remaining time you are with your employer, learning on the job as such, and then implementing the knowledge that you gain from the course that you attend at Petroc, and the application of your knowledge and learning in the workplace. A number of apprenticeship standards are assessed by an endpoint assessment called EPA, and those assessment methods vary from examinations throughout the duration of your apprenticeship. You're gathering a portfolio of evidence, proof of knowledge, understanding, and application, and quite often the endpoint assessment is a professional discussion surrounding the evidence that you've supplied from your portfolio of work and evidence through the duration of your apprenticeship, and including the knowledge element, which could be HNC, foundation degree, masters, all the way through, as part of your apprenticeship. So there's a number of elements that make up an apprenticeship standard.
What do your students go on to study after a HE course? Well, there's different options, really. I mean, if you were to do a foundation degree with us, you've got progression options onto either a BA or BSc at the University of Plymouth, or you can stay with Petroc to progress to your honours degree. If you were to do the full level 6 program, then ultimately you can go on to study master's level. So, you could progress to a number of different institutions across the country to do either what's classed as an MA or an MSc, and ultimately you could then progress onto a PhD. So you've got so many options out there, and in terms of your kind of progression options from studying higher education, well, it shouldn't be thought that a BA or a BSc is it. You should be looking to progress further, study higher, and ultimately get kind of graduate level employment, and that is the ultimate goal of doing any higher education program. Right, yeah, that's quite a good question, actually. So if you don't have necessarily an A level or a qualification that relates to the degree you want to apply for, that doesn't really preclude you from doing it. So absolutely. So if you haven't done a level 3 qualification in computing or IT, that won't prevent you from applying for games development. You can absolutely change your mind in terms of, you may have done health and social care at level 3, but then you can still go on to study business at a higher level. So, don't think your level 3 qualification will prevent you from going on to study at higher education or the subject that you study. So providing you meet the entry requirements, this is what is crucial. So if you were to apply for games development, we have an entry requirement of 56 UCAS points. Now, that is standard across our HE provision. As I was saying earlier, though, if you don't necessarily have a level 3 qualification, you could start one of our foundation year programs. So, by all means, don't think about what you have at the moment. Think about what you want to do and ultimately how you can get there. So we can, sort of by all means apply online, and on most cases, if you've achieved at level 3, you've got a choice of any higher education program. Right, how much does it cost? Right, so you can take out student finance to fund a HE program at Petroc, like any other university. At present, so starting in this academic year, a full-time course costs you £7,400 a year with Petroc. So that could apply to our January start programs. That will be the tuition fee at present. Going into next year, so the next academic year, our fee is going to be slightly higher, so we're planning to charge just over £9,000 a year. But the plan for next year is to have paid internship or work placement. So essentially what we will do, the fee will be slightly higher, but when you're on a work placement, we will actually pay you to do that. So essentially you would get a part of that tuition fee back in a paid internship or work placement. And the point about that is really because you need to kind of improve your career prospects, those transferable skills, get work-based experience. And that is the kind of purpose of what we're doing in terms of these paid internships next year. So that is the plan in terms of the fee for next year. You can apply for student finance for Petroc like you would for any other HE course. So ultimately, that's Student Finance England. So you can literally go onto a .gov website. You can literally Google search student finance, and it will take you through the steps in terms of how to apply.
And just with regard to higher apprenticeships, as I mentioned earlier, there is no fee to a learner for any apprenticeship from across the piece from level 2 all the way up to masters. So the fees are paid by either the employer through a levy. So a levy is paid by any employer that has over a £3 million pay bill. Pay a levy, pay a tax, and that pot of funds can only be spent on apprenticeship training. So for any higher apprenticeships, there is no fee or cost to the learner. They are paid for by the government or your employer. So a question from Millie. Yes, Millie, we do have childcare and teaching apprenticeships. We have career pathways from level 3 up through within childcare and early years, and then also into the teaching. The teaching apprenticeship standard that we currently offer is it contains a certificate in education, and that's through the University of Plymouth, but with the view to teaching 16 and above.
Right, how many days a week on average? Right, basically, the way we structure the programs, it depends on full or part-time, but as Sam was saying about the apprenticeship route, then we would usually do that on 1 day a week. So if you would study as an apprentice or a part-time student, we can structure the timetable so it's 1 day a week. If you're a full-time student, it would usually be 2 or 3 days a week. Now, the important thing to kind of consider here is that as a HE student, it's not just about the time that you're attending in college, okay? There is an expectation as a HE student that you're undertaking research, that you're potentially doing a work placement. So there's more to a program than study days at college. So it really, a full-time course, it should be viewed as a full-time commitment. But ultimately, in terms of attending college, it's 2 or 3 days a week. At the moment, we're doing a lot of blended learning. So because of COVID, we're doing quite a lot of digital learning at the moment. And that's something that potentially we would be progressing on with in the next academic year as well. What we found is that we've adapted really well to the kind of digital environment, and that we can deliver a lot of programs on a blended basis. So that ultimately makes it even more potentially flexible for students in terms of accessing higher education at Petroc. So yeah, on average, I would say for a full-time course, 2 or 3 days a week. Yes, we do have a graduation ceremony. So because of COVID, again, we would usually have a graduation ceremony in October of each year. The graduates from 2019-20, we didn't have a graduation ceremony due to COVID. But what we're planning to do, we've got a couple of ideas. We're either going to have a graduation in the spring of 2021 for students from last academic year, or we're going to push that to the October of 2021 and have 2 separate graduation ceremonies for the 2 different years. So yes, we do. So it's usually in Barnstable. So we have it usually in the Queen's Theatre. So it's a really nice event, really nice day. Usually the weather actually holds out for us in October. And yeah, so it's a really good day and a really good opportunity to celebrate your success. There you go, Sam.
Oh, hi, Millie. Thank you for the question. Yes, all apprenticeships start from 16 and above. Quite often within certain sort of sectors that the employer might wish to take on someone that's slightly older. But it will just be variable on the type of apprenticeship standard and the person specification and the job role that the employer is looking to fill. We have a high percentage of 16 to 18-year-old learners that go straight into an apprenticeship. We support you, the learner, and the employer throughout the duration of the apprenticeship. We review your progress regularly. We make sure that the employer and yourself are aware of all the learning requirements, the knowledge, the skills and behaviours, and work with you both to make sure that you are getting the training in the workplace. We support you with the knowledge at Petroc for those for whatever job role that you're currently undertaking.
It depends on which course you're doing, to be honest. I mean, we've got 3 different campuses. So we run higher education out of our Blenheim campus on Roundswell, North Devon campus in Barnstaple, but that's the kind of main campus, I suppose, in Barnstaple. But we also have a campus in Devon as well, where we run some higher education programs. So it very much depends. It's most of our kind of engineering-based programs are based on the main campus in Barnstaple. Psychology, sport is based on the main campus. So, I mean, to be honest, the place of attendance is not crucial. It's only so you don't need to attend on a specific place for things like labs and access to engineering facilities. So it could be either. Well, I'm not sure if we've got any more questions there. Well, if we have no more questions, I think that will that concludes the session.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us today.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for listening. So yeah, as you can see on the screen, for more information, if you want to contact our advice and guidance team on the guidance centre at petroc.ac.uk or phone 01271 852 422. Thank you very much.